lighting up the world, making broken places whole. She leads loud, echoes through the crowd. One voice, one mission, a movement unbound. Where you lead, live and love out loud. She leads loud, and she makes heaven proud.
Welcome to She Leads Loud. I'm your host, Nicky Cuesta, and this show is dedicated to every visionary woman who is done shrinking, done dimming, and done living with the limits someone else handed her. This is where we rise and we reclaim our stories. Here we live out unapologetic dreams. And if you are listening today, understand this. You did not land on this episode by accident. This conversation is intentional, it's timely, and it's just for you. Because today we're addressing the one question that has the power to shift your confidence, your clarity, your leadership, and your life. And that question is, when are you going to finally take off the shades? This is the message you lean into when you are tired of playing small, tired of operating on autopilot, tired of living through filters that keeps you from seeing your greatness. Today, we're breaking it all down. So settle in, breathe deeply, and prepare for a moment of truth that may just change the trajectory of your next chapter. So let's dive in. Today's message is one that carries both weight and liberation. It is a message that asks every woman listening a question, one that is simple in words, but life-shifting in impact. When are you finally going to take off the shades? This concept was born out of a simple question inside Ladies of Leadership. And that question was, why do we always pick the wrong one? And my cousin, Addie, just walked through her room, like we can see her on the virtual Zoom. And she's because we always walk into relationship with our shades on. That moment hit different. It wasn't just about relationships. It was about life, purpose, business, and leadership. These shades represents the layers we hide. The fear of old identity, the survival mode, the people-pleasing pain we don't want to revisit, expectations placed on us that never belonged to us in the first place. The idea grew into a coaching tool, then a conversation piece, then an anthology. Yes, an anthology. 37 women entered their stories with their taking off the shades moment. I am super excited about having these women really just share the ins and outs of what happened during their journey and their taking off the shades moment. And the subtitle for this book is When You Finally See What No Longer Serves You. Yes, we are taking the time to see what no longer served us, and we put it in a book, and now it's a movement. So taking off the shades really means seeing clearly, choosing boldly, and leading loudly. No filters, no masks, no apologies. It means removing anything that blocks your vision of who God called you to be. It's stepping out of the stories that kept you small for so long. It's facing the truth even when it shakes your soul. It's choosing clarity over comfort. And it's ultimately deciding that you are no longer available for a dimmed down version of your destiny. And I just wanted to share a moment before we go into the 5 most common taking off the shades survival, taking off the shades moment is what I decided to write in this chapter. So as a new entrepreneur, leaving corporate America, sharing with my spouse what I was about to do, the leap of faith I was about to take with no plan B back in October of 2000, and really saying goodbye to corporate and saying yes to me, giving myself permission to succeed, going on a 2-year journey in this notary industry that ultimately led me to my publisher, to community, to resurrecting a podcast, to starting my own community, to hosting live events, virtual events, to changing women's lives globally as we build leaders globally. And I had no idea. So the chapter of my title was Beyond Ideal. At that time, I was married for about 20 years and 21 years. And I had to really figure this out, two totally different individuals, both type A personalities. One's a go-getter, one's a gamer, and just loving what we had built together. But there was still more in me that needed to be out there, that was just bottled up. And I needed to find what my purpose was and what I needed to do to create a legacy, to create my destiny, to create my own path. So in a marriage, it's not always easy when spouses don't see eye to eye, when they really can't see your vision. So I still had to decide, am I going to stay Nicky Cuesta, or am I going to just be this wife that is going to hold back on her voice and dreams, mission and vision and purpose? Or am I going to go all in? No matter what the consequences were, no matter what the end results were, I just knew if I took the steps and I stayed focused, that my spouse would see what I was doing and ultimately, jump on board. But it wasn't like that, at least not immediately. It took some time to really get the understanding of what I was really building, finding out who I was. It looked so unrealistic to become an entrepreneur, to be able to impact people's lives, who was going to listen to me, all those things was super, super crazy to just understand and receive and have that cheering, that person cheering you on at the end of the day. And I didn't get that, immediately. I really had to work hard and justify, what my mission is, what my mission was, what was I going to do? How was it going to look like? How was I going to put food on the table? How was I going to make this work? But I took my self-assessment. I knew that if I kept focused and I kept producing results, that they would come along. And ultimately, it was a beautiful thing to witness, something I had to fight for really, really hard, not just my mission and my vision, but my marriage. And what I love about this book is that all 37 authors had a different vantage point of the relationships that we had to take off the shades to. So my taking off the shades moment was deciding that I was going to go all in on me and still nurture my marriage and make sure that family was first and taken care of. And, I failed a couple times along the way, but it was seen. The work was getting done. The results were coming in. The change was happening fast. So what I'm saying is that when you decide to take off the shades and you have a plan and you know what these things can really do for the trajectory of your life, you just go all in. And we have women that talked about their relationships with siblings, with parents, with children, with coworkers, with significant others, with themselves. All of our relationships matter, but are they draining us? Are they soaking us dry? Are they really either adding value or not adding value? So I'm excited to get into these 5 most common concepts. So we're going to take a quick commercial break and we're going to listen to Prospera TV and give you a commercial. Then we're going to come back with those 5 most common moments and some practical tips to get through them all.
Thank you for watching Prospera TV Network. We hope you're enjoying the show. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
are back with taking off the shades moments. I'm super excited. I was dancing behind the scenes, have my purple moon on from Besitos Beauty. So love, love, love Elena Prospera TV. And again, if I didn't take that chance on me and took off my shades when it was time to take off the shades, we would not be here today. So let's go in to the first moment in taking off the shades, and that is survival mode. So many women unknowingly operate from a place of constant survival, reacting, juggling, doing, and pushing without ever pausing long enough to ask whether the direction they're moving in is still aligned with who they are becoming. Survival mode teaches you resilience, but it does not teach you leadership. At some point, you realize that the skills that kept you afloat will not be the same skills that take you into the next level. When the shades of survival mode come off, you begin to notice places where you've been moving out of fear instead of intention. To shift this takes 72 hours. Yes, I said 72 hours, 3 days to spend time naming one of your life or business where you have, naming one area of your life or business where you have been reacting instead of leading. And I want you to choose one strategic action that moves you towards alignment instead of exhaustion. The small choice begins to rebuild clarity and authority in your decision making. So the second moment is taking off the shades of people pleasing. Yes, let's say it again, people pleasing. How many? I know I can't see your hands raised, but if you're feeling it, raise your hand right now. Many women have been conditioned to shrink, soften, or silence themselves for the comfort of others. Boy, I know how that went. When you wear these shades, you say yes when you want to say no. You hold back when you want to speak up. You compromise your own boundaries to maintain peace that isn't even really yours. The moment you hear yourself saying yes again, when your spirit is saying no, it's often the moment you become aware of the shades you're wearing. To take this shade off, practice the power of pause. Simply say, I need a moment to think about that. And that's okay. Don't ever let anyone take the power that you have of your own journey to take a moment to think about it. Maybe they will say that you're unsure, you can't make decisions and all this good stuff, but they're not really good. You want to break the cycle of automatic agreement that gives you space to make decisions based on truth instead of fear. The more you do this is the more that you reclaim authority over your time, your energy, and your voice. The third moment is taking off the shades is old identity. There comes a point in every woman's growth where the identity that she has carried no longer fits the life she's being called to build. Old identity is comfortable because it's familiar, it's predictable, it feels safe. But when you start stepping into new rooms, new opportunities, new leadership roles, your old identity can quietly sabotage your rise. When these shades come off, you realize that your next level requires a new level of thinking, deciding, and believing. Create what I call a future self. So I want you to ask yourself, who is the woman I am becoming? How does she lead? How does she handle conflict? How does she protect her energy? And how does she walk into a room? Then commit to showing up as her for the next 7 days. Yes, I said for the next 7 days. This exercise stretches your thinking, your behavior, and your confidence. It just does. And it's the best thing you can do for yourself. So the fourth moment is taking off the shades of emotional pain. Yeah, unhealed wounds have a way of influencing every area of our lives. They show up in relationship, businesses, decisions, self-worth, confidence, and even the opportunities we accept or decline. When this shade comes off, it's usually because you recognize that healing is not a weakness. It's a strategy. Healing allows you to lead whole, not wounded. And that's what we want. We want to lead whole. To take the shades off for this one, you want to name the pain without judgment. Identify the lessons that pain taught you and decide the boundary that will protect your growth moving forward. Once you identify the 3 elements, you want to take one micro action towards closure. That could be journaling, releasing a belief, closing a chapter, forgiving yourself, or even seeking a supportive conversation. Yes, community can do that for you because you don't have to feel alone. Healing is not a destination. It is an activation like nobody's business. The 5th moment is in taking off the shades is imposter syndrome. This one is one of the most common shades women carry. You walk into rooms you prayed to be in, and somehow you still question whether you belong there. You minimize your accomplishments, you question your worth, and you hide the brilliance that others can see so clearly. When these shades come off, you understand that imposter syndrome is not truth. It is an echo from a past version of yourself who did not have the information, the confidence, or the tools that you have today. To shift out of this, use the receipts of reality method. I want you to write down 10 things you have done, survived, built, created, or overcame. I just want to let you know that evidence destroys insecurity. The more evidence you hold, the less space doubt has to run your mind. These 5 survival modes, people pleasing, old identity, emotional pain, and imposter syndrome, are the most common experiences that keep women from leading loud. But each one is an opportunity for breakthrough. Each one is a doorway to clarity, and each one is a step closer to unapologetic versions of yourself that God intended all along. Taking off the shades is not a one-time event. It is a continuous process of self-awareness, self-love, self-relationship. Every season of life will challenge you to remove a new layer. Every new level of purpose will demand clear vision. Every new assignment will require a louder, more confident, more courageous you. And now I want to leave you with a challenge. I want you to identify one shade you have been hiding behind. Yep, just one. The shade of fear, the shade of doubt, the shade of old identity, the shade of emotional pain, the shade of survival mode, the shade of people pleasing, the shade of imposter syndrome. Choose one and decide today that you are ready to remove it. Remove it in the way you make decisions. Remove it in the way you speak about yourself. Remove it in the way you walk into rooms. Remove it in the way you lead. Because when the shades come off, your purpose becomes clear, your presence becomes stronger, and your voice becomes bolder, and your leadership becomes undeniable. The world is not a dimmed down version of you. The world needs the woman you are when you see clearly. Choose boldly and lead loudly. So ask yourself once more, when are you going to take off the shades? Now, you probably already have decided which shades, which relationships, which conversations you need to have. And those are so important. So important to take the inventory now. We're stepping into 2026 where things just have to change. I know we stepped into 2025 and every year before that. This is our year. This is the year we're going to check off all our goals. We're going to hit all our milestones. We are going to complete the vision board that we created. But that's not how it works. We have to do the work in between. And then life throws a wrench, right, into your world. And then you start all over again. You go back into these habits, these mindset habits that are not serving you. And we are not asking ourselves enough questions day in and day out to really understand what shades are holding us back right now as we speak. Who do we have to remove? What do we have to remove? Where do we have to posture ourselves in? There's so many things when it comes to this concept of taking off the shades, where we're no longer going to dim our lights. We're no longer going to play small, which is actually the second edition of this book. And I'm just blessed that God even blessed us with this concept, gave us the assignment to be able to live this out, to bring these stories to life, to have these conversations, to be able to understand that these shades are only to look cool on the beach, to protect our eyes, but they are not to hide behind the real tough conversations that's going to make the difference in our happiness, in our worth, in our legacy, in our image. Just all of those things matter. So take them off, toss them over, don't break them, because they're amazing. So this has been She Leads Loud. May this message move, strengthen you, and prepare you to live out the unapologetic dreams. Your next level is waiting for you to see it. And that starts with taking off the shades. Thank you for joining me on this episode of She Leads Loud. If today's message touched something in you, share it with another woman who is ready to rise. Remember, your calling is not waiting for permission. It's waiting for you to see yourself clearly. Keep stepping into your truth, keep owning your voice, and keep living out your unapologetic dreams. There is no reason why we need to keep compromising our mental health, that we need to keep compromising our feelings, that we need to keep compromising our businesses, and just who we are, our core values, our worth. Like, setting those boundaries set you up. And taking off the shades is the answer, is really the answer. So the next time you have to make a decision, or you're in this moment, you're going to always remember this concept. And you're going to have the tools right within you. You're going to remember my voice. Nicky Cuesta said, hey, time to take off the shades. This is no longer serving me. I have to live loud, and I'm going to do that. So this is Nicky Cuesta reminding you that leadership begins the moment you decide to take off the shades. And until next time, stay bold, stay grounded, make it count, and always lead loud. Bye, everyone.
This is your prosperity era, where dreams align with grace, abundance flows like rivers. You've stepped into your place. Rise, reign, and remember, you were born to shine. Welcome to your moment, Prospera, it's time.
We hope you enjoyed today's show on Prospera TV Network. Make it a point to visit us on YouTube and catch all your favorite shows anytime you want. Interested in hosting a show of your own? Or advertising your business on our network? Contact Elena Rodriguez.